Let me ask you something. When was the last time your network service let you down? Maybe your internet dropped during a client call. Maybe your mobile's signal vanished when you needed it most. Maybe a supplier's routine maintenance caused an outage that took half your business offline. Now imagine that happening on the morning of your biggest client launch. No network, no communication, no sales, no service, no trust. It's not just frustrating, it's catastrophic. And that is why ISO 27001 has an entire control all by itself dedicated to security of network services. That's this particular control, Annex A 8.21. Now, it may appear tucked away into the technical control section here, but really, this control is actually all about supplier management, trust, and business resilience. So what does the standard say? Well, it states that security mechanisms, service levels, and service requirements of network services shall be identified, implemented, and monitored. Notice the emphasis, service levels and service requirements. That's your network service provider, not just your firewalls or your switches. Now, according to ISO 27002, the guidance that accompanies 27001, it states that organizations should ensure network service providers offer appropriate security controls aligned to business needs, that they define and agree service levels, including availability, latency, and incident response, that they should also ensure things like cryptographic controls are in place, protection is applied when and where required. For example, on encrypted tunnels, secure protocols, encrypted at rest, in transit, that kind of thing. It also states that you should monitor the performance and security of network services regularly, include network service risk considerations as part of your supplier risk management, and implement redundancy, resilience, failover where network disruptions could impact upon operations. The guidance is actually pretty clear. Your network provider isn't just a supplier, they are critical. They are a critical part of your security posture. Now, because modern businesses depend on one thing, which is, let's be honest, data, connectivity, if networks fail, everything fails. Communication, collaboration, commerce, customer experience, all of it. Then add the risks, unplanned outages, supplier maintenance windows, accidental infrastructure damage caused by road workers cutting up a fibre, for example, security weaknesses in the provider's environment, cryptographic misconfiguration, and lack of redundancy. Without secure, resilient network services, your business becomes vulnerable to disruption, breaches, and of course, reputational damage. So let's try and bring this story to life, this particular control, as ever, by giving you some examples. How about the local business that loses all internet connectivity for 6 hours after contractors accidentally cut through a fibre line outside the office? No contingency plan, no backup provider, no service, lost revenue, angry clients, regulatory implications, the rest, for example. Or how about the supplier who forgot the maintenance email stating that your network provider performs maintenance at 2 a.m. When they only send that out at midnight isn't really going to help you. Now, when a communication error occurs, the notice never reaches your business or doesn't reach it in time, and your 24/7 customer support center goes offline. Your global clients locked out, your reputation damaged for months. Or how about finally your telephone provider who suffers a nationwide outage? Your field team can't access systems. Your multi-factor authentication tokens can't authenticate. Your customers can't contact you. A single supplier dependency causes chaos. So when all's said and done, this idea of managing your service providers, your network service providers is absolutely key. But what will the auditor be looking for in this particular control? Well, as ever, they're not going to be looking for one single policy. They're going to be looking for a range of controls that you have in place. They're looking for evidence that your network service providers are managed securely and systematically. So expect them to ask for things like access control policies, because they'll want to see who can access your networks and your systems, when and where, and who are they, and that includes your network service providers. They're going to want to see that they are listed on your list of suppliers and that you've risk rated them, that you've risk assessed them, and they're going to want to see that if they are of a high enough risk, that you've done due diligence around them and that you've checked their credentials, such as having ISO 27001, for example. They're going to want to see that you've got a security onboarding process in place. So there is some form of due diligence, as I just mentioned, that there is some form of security questionnaire that you provide. You might have 10 questions, you might have 100 questions, whatever it is that you deem appropriate for that supplier, then you need to have that in place. And certainly for your network service providers, that needs to be fairly significant. They're going to want to see that you've thought about the suppliers in terms of service reviews. So how often do you sit down with your network service provider? Maybe you get a monthly report, maybe you get a quarterly check-in with a network service provider manager, for example. Sit down, have a look at the service levels. Have they breached the service levels? Have there been any outages? Have there been any incidents? And the auditor is going to want to see that those kind of conversations are taking place and that you have any incidents noted on an incident log. They're going to want to see that you are monitoring the activity on your network. Do you know if there are any spikes or any degradation of network services for any period of time? And if so, why? What's the root cause? Have you performed a root cause analysis? All of these things the auditor is going to want to see are in place. Just remember, if you're thinking this overlaps with supplier management, then yeah, you're right, it does. But because networks are so critical, ISO 27001 treats them as a special category. And of course, because they are about connectivity, it's placed them in the technology section. Whether you think it sits in this theme or not is irrespective, it's here. So you need to address it. So what do you need to do? Well, here's some actionable steps. First of all, go and identify your network service provider. This includes internet service providers, your MPLS providers, mobile phone network providers, managed network service providers. You should already have identified them under Annex A 5.19, supplier relationships. So make sure you've got those specifically identified and that they are on your register. Then go and review the contracts and service levels that are in place. Look for things like availability targets, the 5 nines and the uptime of 99.999%, that kind of thing. What's the availability that you're looking for? Maybe it's less. What about incident response times? What about maintenance windows? Does it talk about when you will have maintenance windows? Maybe systems can't be updated, or will be updated rather, on a weekend. Do you know that? Is that a time when you may do a release of some critical software that you use, that you utilize? Maybe that will have an impact. What about redundancy commitments? And finally, security obligations. These SLAs must align with your business needs and, of course, your risk appetite as well. I would also suggest that you need to verify cryptographic controls that are in place. Ask IT, are network services encrypted? What kind of encryption? What kind of protocols are enforced? TLS, IPsec, HTTPS, what's in place? Is multi-factor authentication used when accessing network devices? Just remember that 27002 stresses the importance of confidentiality and integrity over untrusted networks. You need to conduct regular supplier reviews as well. Make sure you add to your audit process a supplier review, checking for things like outages, performance issues, security incidents, SLA breaches, improvements or changes all come under this particular control. And finally, if you do identify any issues, any problems, add it to your risk register. Any vulnerabilities, outages, or SLAs need to be treated on your risk register and given an appropriate risk treatment. So there you go. Your network is the lifeline of your business, and your network service provider is the guardian of that lifeline. You can have the best policies, the best firewalls, the best people, but if your provider falls down, then you fall down with them. So control them, monitor them, hold them accountable, because your resilience depends on their reliability. Strong networks build strong businesses, and strong businesses build trust. I hope that's been helpful. You might have noticed I've got a bit of a gruff voice today. I've been speaking at a number of conferences, so I apologize in advance if I'm sounding a little croakier than normal. Let's hope normal service resumes soon. Yeah, I was going to try and link that into network service providers, but I can't think of one. So I will leave it at that. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope that you found that useful. And I'm going to go and have a cold or a warm drink with some soothing Lemsip or something to try and ease my throat. If you found that helpful at all, please give it a like. I'd love to hear your comments. Yeah, if you've got any remedies for throat illnesses, I'll be happy to take those as well. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you're alerted to future videos. Yeah, until next time, stay well, stay safe, and stay connected. All the very best. Bye.